All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of hashtag CB99 Talks. This is episode 82. Of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. All right, y'all. Back with another one. Hope everybody had a good week. Been another one of them crazy weeks over my way. Still doing videos, but taking care of the business. But other than that, I've been staying on it, trying to stay on it every week with the episode for y'all. Because sometimes I can get tied up in other stuff, but I've been trying to stay consistent with it. Dropping these shows. But like I always say, man, if you want to hear this show, just if you don't have, if you don't have YouTube pulled up, you can always go to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and so on, and tuned in. Because like I said, I'm gonna start putting the show over there more. This exclusive show when I'm just kind of breaking down some updates and my thoughts on the fight game as a whole. So yeah, man. It's fight week again. We don't have too many WMMA fights. I think it's Alexis Davis and Julia Stoyarenko. I think that's the only fight. So I'm gonna just kind of go back in and talk about a few different interviews with different fighters, and you know how I do. We just kind of go in here and talk about certain situations with particular fighters. And let me see here. Yeah, I want to start with Roxanne today. As y'all know, Roxanne, she's coming up on her last fight. One more week. February 12th, she's going to be taking on Casey O'Neill. And we've been talking about Casey a lot over here, right? We've been talking about Casey O'Neill and her come up. So, that's one of the things that's that we've been going in on about a lot over here, just what type of performance Casey O'Neill is going to bring. But, my question is, what is Roxanne going to bring? What is Roxanne going to bring at this point? And is she going to go out with a bang? Because she talked about some recent things in this new interview that I want to bring up. I brought up yesterday in a live stream, but I didn't really go too hard in, because it was like the tail end of the show. So let's talk about Roxanne and her mind frame going into this fight and just some interesting things that she brought up too as well when she got into the UFC. Jullianna Pena. I want to talk about Jullianna Pena. As y'all know, Khabib, he gave his thoughts on Jullianna Pena as a fighter. And Jullianna Pena, she answered back. She gave her response back on the comments that he made about her performance against Amanda Nunes, right? And let's just talk about Jullianna Pena as a whole right now, because it seems like you can almost do a whole show just dedicated to the target on Jullianna Pena's back now. Like, everybody's been going in as far as the performance, whether it's other fighters or fans, everybody's kind of had their say on what she's looked like, whether they're calling it a fluke or will she do it again? You know what I mean? So I just want to go in on that a little bit, especially that and how Khabib feels about WMMA as a whole, because he's always going to kind of downplay their performances because of his views on WMMA, right? So let's talk about that. What else? I want to discuss Kayla Harrison a little bit, Megan Anderson, separate topics. They ain't fighting. Megan Anderson's doing her thing now. I did a video, but I want to just go in a little bit more with y'all. And then, like I said, Kayla Harrison, we can talk about that. And then I want to go down the flyweight calendar again. Flyweight division popping right now. Like 10 fights, just in case y'all missed the live stream the other day. I want to go back in and just go down all the fights by dates. I ain't breaking them down this time, just going down the list here, just so y'all are aware of that. But yeah, man, let's go back up here. First off, man, I got to say, this was some shocking news, man. I got to say rest in peace to Curtis Anderson, a.k.a. Kurt Sugar. As y'all know, Curtis Anderson, well, for y'all that aren't familiar over here, he's a boxing historian that, frequents other boxing channels on YouTube. Like, if y'all not familiar, like Blue Blood Sports TV, he's one of the bigger boxing channels out there. And Curtis Anderson is he's a historian that would pop up as a guest on his show at different times. As of lately, I think he had been, he'd been sick. He'd been in pretty bad shape, so he wasn't on the show as much. But I just got the shocking news yesterday that he had passed away from some other channels, like Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. Sending out their condolences, and I just wanted to do the same thing on this segment. Just say rest in peace to Curtis Anderson, because I caught him a few times. Every now and then I pull up live streams. I'm just chilling, pull up some boxing Blue Blood streams, and that's how I got into Curtis Anderson, and just hearing his talk, his discussions, and hearing him talk on the sport of boxing. Very, very knowledgeable man. Very smart. And just wanted to say rest in peace and condolences to his family, because that's a big loss to the boxing world. Like, I feel like he was definitely probably one of the best historians when it came down to boxing on YouTube. On a platform like YouTube, you deal with a lot of, different type of emotional YouTube fans. But when it came to his knowledge on the sport, I think that it was like no other. He was just bringing what he experienced as he grew up. I think he's from New York, and going to fights, he would kind of go into different things like that. I know, like, sometimes I think when Blue was away and he'd be on the channel, he'd answer questions. I threw some questions out there, he would answer them. So, I do appreciate that, and I just appreciate the mark that he left on the sport. Always brought up different things about his experiences growing up, as far as watching different fights and attending fights and meeting fighters. And I just thought that was I just thought that was very interesting. How he was just bringing this different view that I think that's lacking on YouTube, especially when it comes to like modern fans in boxing. Not too many fans have that same passion, or they just express it in a different way. Like, nowadays, you really don't hear too many break it down the way he did. He's older than me, but with him being on YouTube, he could really school you. You know what I mean? He would really school you on the sport of boxing, and like I said, just bring forth that knowledge. So definitely a loss, definitely a big hit, because like I said, he was one of the ones that I would hear, or I would actually kind of tune into and want to, just kind of hear him go on and on, because he could go on for hours about boxing. So yeah, rest in peace, and condolences to the family of Curtis Anderson, aka Kurt Sugar. So yeah, man. What else we got going on? Like I said, not too much going on as far as the fight world. We got this weekend, we got Alexis Davis versus Julia Stoyarenko. And I'm a little worried here, man. I'm a little worried about Stoyarenko. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little worried about her trying to make this weight again, man, because we saw what happened last time out when she tried to cut down to 135, but she's just in that position where she wants to keep on trying. I like I said, I'm definitely one that wouldn't, if I was in that position, especially whenever the UFC, they're still making some other featherweight fights out here. I think they should try to make that exception for somebody like Stoyarenko. So I think that's the first battle going into this fight for Stoyarenko is the weight. As for Alexis Davis, there's a good weight for her. She was doing her thing at flyweight for like a few months, and she actually was ranked flyweight, but then she bumped up for Sabina Mazo last year and looked good at bantamweight again. That the weight probably suited her, especially at her age. So for Alexis Davis, I think she's in a good place. She's never been like a really, really big bantamweight. She's always kind of been in the middle there of bantamweight and flyweight. So as she's getting older, I think this is a better weight for her. She looked physically strong as well in her last fight out. So going into this one, I think that it's really going to come down to the veteran skills of Alexis Davis, and just being stronger at this weight. I think that's really going to help her get to a victory in this fight. I am kind of leaning towards her, but I can tell you one thing: there's going to be blood in this fight. There's definitely going to be blood in this fight. I mean, if you look at Stoyarenko, some of her past fights combined with Alexis Davis and her past fights, I'm like, look, there's going to be no shortage of blood in that octagon. I can tell you that right now. I'm leaning towards Alexis Davis right now, but anything can happen. Anything can happen in this fight. Let me see here. Alexis Davis, actually, that was her last fight against Sabina Mazo. That was almost a year ago, right? No. She did fight. She fought over the summer. Pena beat her. Yeah, Pena had beat her over the summer. So yeah, with Sabina Mazo, then she came back, fought Pena. She been out for about 6-7 months now. So yeah, that's normal. Before that, she was on a 3-fight losing streak. So I could see why she moved back up to bantamweight. Maybe the weight wasn't cutting it for her. I mean, Kagan beat her, Maya beat her, then Viviana Ru beat her, or Rujo beat her. So yeah, she went back up to um, bantamweight for that Mazo fight. Didn't do no justice for Mazo though. Yeah, that way was not good for Mazo. So yeah, I'm going with Alexis Davis early on in this one. But like I said, it's definitely going to be a bloodbath in there. I definitely see blood in this fight. But yeah, let's talk about Roxanne a little bit. You know, fight week for Roxanne's coming up one more Saturday. And as y'all know, this is a big fight. Big fight more so for Casey O'Neill. You know, as we've been talking about Casey over here a lot. You know, she's got a lot of potential. Like I've said, you know, she's definitely good on her level, but people mistake that for like disrespecting the fighter. But I think only the hardcore analysts understand what I mean when I say she looks good on her level, but she still has things to do. I mean, if she didn't have things to do, she would have the belt, right? But there's always room for improvement. And that's why what I'm saying actually acknowledges what Casey O'Neill is doing. She's working hard, right? I mean, she works hard. I give her that credit. She's improving in every fight. It's still on a lower level, but to me, there's still a lot that needs to be done there so she can be a threat for Valentina Shevchenko. That's all I'm saying. Or even like to the top 5. That's all I'm saying. You know, I'm glad that she likes to do a little bit of everything, but it's going to be a hard road. You know, it's going to be a hard road to get it all together. I mean, nothing wrong with saying that. I mean, she's only 24 years old, so there's room to work. But as for Roxanne, you know, Roxanne, she's been vocal about this being her last fight. She's not playing. Like she said, you know, she's about to get married, maybe want to have a kid one day. She's just been open about how things have been going in camp as far as I know there's 1.2. I might have to pull this interview up where she talked about actually not wanting to pull the trigger in training. I think it was for this fight or maybe another fight where she said, you know, she didn't really like hitting somebody. You know, there's that part. Then there's also the part of her just dealing with the headaches and feeling them signs of, you know, it's time to go. You know, so for Roxanne, she's in a different mindset, I think. You know, she's in a different mindset. Like, the question is she going to go out with a bang? I mean, we know she's leaving anyway, but is she going to go out with a bang, or is she just going to go through the motions, right? And it's really hard to tell from some of the words that she's been using. But yeah, let me pull this thing up here, because this is, let me see where because I've got a few different interviews. Okay, cagesidepress.com. I'm gonna pull this one up here. This is what she said recently. Hold on, let me see. We're gonna pull this up. I think she was referring to something back in her youth about not wanting to punch things anymore, that it was too violent. She said she needed a martial art with no more striking and no pain. Okay, so she went to judo. Okay, yeah, that's what she was referring to as far as in the past. So that's how she got into judo. Okay, then she went into jujitsu, and eventually, you know, some of her partners got her into the UFC from that. But as far as some interesting things that she had to say about her goal, let me pull that up here. Okay, so this is what she said about fulfilling her goals. So she feels like she did fulfill it. She said, my life goal was to make it into the UFC, period. It wasn't a fight for the title. It was just to be in the UFC and try to be the number one strongest fighter in the world, whatever that entailed. That was my goal. And then what else did she say? Let me backtrack here. I knew I could survive off fighting alone someday, but when I first started fighting, that wasn't the case. I tried not to worry about it. I just worked my job and just fought as much as I could. Okay, so it was just kind of like a hobby thing, but eventually as she got better and better, she wanted to be a fighter, you know, for full time. But let's go back to that statement, May. My life goal was to make it to the UFC, period. It wasn't to fight for the title. It was just to be in the UFC and to try to be the number one strongest fighter in the world, whatever that entailed. That was my goal. So when I read that yesterday to y'all on the live stream, you know, I kind of was like, had mixed feelings about that, but I can understand where she was coming from. I can definitely understand where she was coming from. I mean, at least she had a goal set. I think the pros of having that mindset is that you're content and you already kind of know your ceiling. If you're content, that's just saying that, okay, I just want to fight. I just want to do it as a living, but I don't want the spotlight on me in that fashion, right? Like I don't want to necessarily have to fight my way to the top. I just want to hold it down and be a career fighter. Now, I've talked about why that's not good, which I'll break down here in a minute, but for her in that mindset, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, you hold yourself to that certain standard. You're content with that. There's not as much pressure on you. That's cool, right? And in a way, like I said, that's good because you know your ceiling. Like you come in already having a goal, and once you reach it, you can fight in a happy way. I guess that's where she got the nickname from, Happy Warrior, right? Because she knows that there's no other directions out there. Like I'm not trying to be Ronda Rousey. I'm not trying to be Valentina Shevchenko. I'm just being Roxy, and Roxy is just a fighter. So with that ceiling, like I said, there's no other ways to turn. You're just in your zone. You're content. You are who you are, and you just keep fighting, and there's not as much stress, right? You just want to stay in that realm. And I know we hard on fighters like that, especially when we see them going through and they're beating these prospects. But the more and more I just analyze it, just like even what Caitlin Kagan is doing, I can't get mad at them because if the other fighters want it, then it's their job to weed these type of fighters out, right? Because everybody has their positions in the fight game. There's going to be a champion, there's going to be a gatekeeper, another gatekeeper, and so on, prospect killer. There's going to be these fighters as you go down, right? So everybody has to play their role. So these ones that can't get to the title, they have to be content with themselves. Or have fighters that don't mind even before they don't even get there, like a Roxanne. So if Roxanne was fine with that, now that I see it, it's okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool because it's going to be a test for the next level. And then we always can say, okay, this is what this fighter needs to do to get to the best. They need to be the Roxy. They need to be the Caitlin. They need to be the Jennifer Maya, right? Because I think it's safe to say, yeah, like there was a time we were wondering why Roxy, wasn't going for the title. And I could kind of see it then. It was just like, I don't even know if it was like a fear thing. At the time, I was kind of thinking that, but it was just always like a mindset where she didn't want to reach a certain potential. Like she was fine with where she was. Like even with the, the media thing and the interview thing, like she doesn't do those, but I mean, you still need to do those, I think, to be on a certain level, right? But she doesn't do that. Now she doesn't want to fight for the title. That's already kind of telling you that this fighter doesn't have the same goals like we hold to a certain standard with like the fighters on the come up, like Casey O'Neill, like Manon, and even the unranked fighter like Aaron. They have a different mindset, right? But Roxanne, her mindset was to just sign to the UFC, fight on that high level. UFC that is a goal to get there, and you've accomplished that. Okay, if you want to stop there, then that's fine. So that's good for her. That's good for her. Like I said, for those reasons, you're content. Your ceiling, not as much stress. You just fight and stay active, right? You just fight whoever they put in front of you from there. And I know it'll get tiring to the fans, but that's why I said it's up to the ones like from the beginning, like Macy, Antonina Shevchenko, and now Casey O'Neill, to get her out of that way, get her out of the way. Because if she's fine with staying there and beating these girls and she's staying in that position, I know it pisses us off, but it should make us disappointed in the ones that don't get her out of the way. Because like I said, that is a type of wall there that's a test for a fighter. Like Caitlin can beat everybody but the champion, and that makes a lot of people mad. But don't be mad at her. Be mad at the fighters that can't get through her. Because like I said, there's a level to everything. There's the Bullets level, there's Chikagan's level, and so on and so on. And then there's Roxy. So they're going to stay where they are because they're making money. They can't have the belt. And until somebody can weed them out, they're going to stay there. So to me, I'm harder on these prospects when it come up. Prospects got to do the job now. Prospects, y'all got to retire. Prove that you're better. Prove that you can get rid of a content fighter. And don't let a content fighter deter you from your goal. right? That's what it comes down to. Aaron, you're doing a lot of talking. Casey, you're doing a lot of talking. Well, go in there, get rid of these fighters that are content with just staying in that same place, right? That's how I see it. So I'm harder on them. The cons of that mindset, though, for Roxanne, I think is kind of dangerous just because it kind of sets you up for more damage to me. And I mean, that's what she's facing now, like physical damage, because when you know your ceiling and you're just content with just being a fighter, that means it just, you're a fighter. You don't mind going in there, get beaten up, or kind of puts you in the mind state of just saying, okay, I got to show up for work and I don't care what happens. Like, I don't want to be a manager, supervisor one day. I just want to go through the motions of being a worker. That's what it kind of is like for Roxanne right now. She's going through the motions. That's why it reflects her resume too. It reflects her resume, and it kind of reflects her feeling these recent headaches as well, because she was just content with being a fighter. So when you're content with being a fighter, I think that you don't strive for perfection and you don't really strive for defense. You're not really striving to not get hit, because you're not trying to clear these levels untouched. You're just fine with fighting. Whereas, again, perfect example, Valentina is fighting to win every single round, because if Roxanne had that mindset, she would be in that position, right? So in a way, you kind of downplay yourself so you can just stay in that same realm. Because if Roxanne was saying, okay, my mindset is not get hit, win every single round, then she would beat everybody. She would be right there with the champion, or she would be fighting Valentina next. But it was kind of like she downplayed it and said, okay, I'm fine here. So that's a con, because it makes you fight to a lesser level. And that's dangerous against the UFC level fighters. You're fighting to a lesser level, which makes you hittable and easy to submit or take damage, right? Even in training, it'll make you fight to a lesser extent. So that's the one con I think about just coming in with the mindset of going there and saying, okay, I'm fine with just being in the UFC. I made it. I got the uniform. I'm good. And then that's it. So every time you fight, it's like, oh, I don't want to go for the belt. No, I don't want to fight for the title one day. I'm gonna just go in here and keep fighting, performing. So you're never going to really improve or perfect as a fighter. You're just going to start taking beatings at a certain point, right? That's how I see it. I mean, I'm just going off of what her resume is and what she's facing now. And that's what it is. Another thing I would say is money. We all know that the UFC fighters don't make a great deal. They're not making boxing money like the champions in boxing are making, So I think being content and just having that goal of being in the UFC and making it, just making it where you are, I think the money is kind of a con, because you're just going to be stuck at that certain level unless you know how to work it. Like Roxanne, not Roxanne, but Caitlin Chikagan. Like, I don't know what Caitlin Chikagan is making, but it's working for her because she's got a good position at number 2 and she's active. So she's stacking paper, right? But the ones that are like below 10, like Roxanne now, or even like just in that mid-range, the money's always going to be average, right? And you're going to continue to take punishment and, take these beatings for average money, So I'm glad she's fighting, maybe fighting her full time in her career, but it's still like you're just fighting to get by. See, to me, I think when you go all out to become a fighter, I'm thinking you're sacrificing everything so you don't have to fight forever. That's always the mindset I've learned, just me personally, that's what I'm saying. This is my opinion. Like, when I watch fighting and picking out the best fighters, I'm looking at the ones that really look to strive for perfection, because they're taking this opportunity. It's not a career, but as what I just said, an opportunity. It's that, it's that unicorn. Not everybody gets it or sees it. You just grab it whenever it's there. You take it, ride it, and until you can't ride no more. So I think that if a lot of fighters have Roxy's mindset, they're always going to be complaining about money, or they're going to be struggling, or they're just going to, have to really go through the rat race as the same way as a regular worker was. That's why I said, like, if you're doing this, the hurt business, I'm going to go all out, give my all so I can leave one day. That's just the mindset I was kind of thinking of. But yeah, that's kind of a con for me. I'd say another one, having that mindset, is just to, I already covered that, but just to kind of go through the motions in the gym. I was going to say that again, but that's part of the same part. But I say another con is a fighter with that type of mindset is going to kind of hold up the division. It's going to kind of hold up the division, like you say, when Roxanne beats Antonina, she beats Macy, then turns around and fights Lauren Murphy. You're like, what? Why are you not fighting for the belt? Why are you not calling out the champion? Why are you putting another roadblock in front of you? And then all of a sudden she loses to Lauren Murphy. It's almost like a blueprint that she meant to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you beat two fighters, two good, hyped up fighters, beat Valentina's sister, then you beat Macy Barber. Why would you go this road again and fight Lauren Murphy when the title shot was something you could have argued for? Well, we know why now. So that kind of holds up the division as well, I think, because whenever fighters continue to go on win streaks and then not call out the champion and, beat everybody that's going for that gold, it kind of turns fans off. But again, that goes to the point I made earlier. Like, well, if your favorite prospect is going for gold, you got to go in there and weed out Roxy. Don't think about Valentina yet. Go in there and beat Roxanne and retire her. Beat her into submission and retire her. That's why I say it's weed them out. Weed them out. So yeah, like I said, I just wanted to kind of go back and talk about Roxanne and just her mind frame right now. And just, those are the points that in her recent interview, just kind of, like I said, just kind of made me think. Like I said, there's really no right or wrong for me. I mean, I'm just glad that she's realizing it's time to go after 50 fights and 39 years old and trying to get married, One of the things I was asking myself too was like, would she go out with a bang? And part of me wants to say yeah, part of me wants to say no. Because, I think a fighter like that was worried about headaches and possible concussions, you might be holding back. But in one breath, she says in an interview that she's looking to knock Casey O'Neill out. She doesn't really knock people out, but, that just kind of makes me think, is that just talk or what? So to me, I think she'll give it her all. Because even in her previous fight, she's always kind of went through the motions. I mean, she just didn't have the strength to handle like the Taylor Santos or Viviane Araújo, right? But she was always in it. You could never finish her. So I think she'll go in there and put up a good fight. But will she go out with a bang? I hope so. Because seeing a Roxy that's focused and ready, that's going to answer a lot of questions for Casey O'Neill, So how this fight's going to go, I'm not giving my prediction yet till next week because I'm not sure. I still got to think about this one and just kind of put it together on what I've seen from Roxy and Casey O'Neill. Even I've been watching a lot of her fights lately. Still up in the air for me. But yeah, man, let me know in the comment section what y'all think of Roxanne, her recent comments. Just that being her life goal. I mean, shout out to her. I mean, yeah, life goal, that's fine. I just think that it kind of sets you up for damage in some financial ways and physical ways when you just come in with that mindset in the fight game. Yeah, it's a job. You can see it as a job, but it's not really one I think to see as a job. That's just me. That's just my opinion, though. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. Let's see. Next topic. Jullianna Pena. I actually recorded a video talking about this as well. I haven't put it out yet, but I just want to, kind of sit back and look at some more of this interview I'm just kind of looking at here on MMAnews.com and listening to Joe Rogan, his podcast. And I'm going to cover other things I didn't cover in this video with Jullianna Pena. First off, I got to say, look, Jullianna Pena got a big target on her back. I mean, this is why you got to be the fighter that she is. Like, you got to have the mind frame that she is. Like, reckless, that's fine. Warrior, that's fine. I mean, well, warrior, of course, but reckless, that is fine in this situation here because she likes this type of fire in and out the octagon. When people talk about her, I think, she's not one to break mentally at all. She'll just come back, bomb back, and let it be that. And she'll go into the octagon and prove it. That's why I say shout out to Jullianna Pena, because so many people right now are downplaying this performance. They're downplaying it. They're thinking that she can't do it again. They're calling it a fluke. While we're at it, let me go ahead and pull up what Felicia Spencer had to say about the performance here. I don't think she really said anything like bad to me. I think she was just giving her opinion. Really, let's see. Let's look at shout out to WMMArankings.com here. Let's see this article. Felicia Spencer on why she thinks Nunes lost to Pena at 269. On why she thinks Nunes lost to Pena. Confident Nunes wins the fight 8 out of 10 times. That's a big number. 8 out of 10 times. So she said, I always know there's a chance for the underdogs to win. I've been in that position so many times, and I was 100% confident that I could pull it off. It just takes a few mistakes in a fight, or one mistake, for that to happen. Did I expect it to happen personally? I wasn't betting on it, no. But I feel like Jullianna had the moment where she could capitalize on a mistake of Amanda's. Amanda reacts certain ways when she gets hit, and it's a trend there. We've seen her get rocked in certain ways and then make more bad decisions. So Jullianna did a good job making that happen in that fight. All right. I would lean towards Amanda because I feel like for so many fights, she was able to avoid making a mistake like that. I feel like she'd be able to be in a mindset to do it again, to have a sort of a flawless performance, if you want to call it that. But again, anything can happen in that cage. I wouldn't be surprised if she lost again. But if I had to lean one way, I'd lean on Amanda 8 out of 10 times. Okay. So she didn't really just necessarily call it a fluke. She didn't just call it a fluke, but I think her feeling like Amanda Nunes wins 8 out of 10 times means that Pena doesn't really have any other type of formula to win this fight. That's what I'm taking from that. Of course, she has her opinion. I think she gives a good observation. Felicia Spencer does. Just the fact that, like she said, Nunes reacts a certain way when she gets hit, and that Pena was able to figure it out, and she knew it, and she executed. So with that being said, to me, for like how a lot of people think, that's not a fluke. Like Jullianna Pena knew she had certain tools, but then she said, I know I have this one thing that Amanda lacks, is this type of dog that's going to be a problem for her. And I'm bringing that. So it's not really a fluke. She knew she had that, because that's the one thing people don't understand. Like, this fight here is not a one-hit wonder type of thing. It was a situation where Jullianna Pena just has a style that can disrupt Nunes. I don't care how many times they fight. Of course, I don't think it'll be 8 times out of 10. It could be, it could very well be, or it could be maybe 6 out of 10, or it could be even. But I think that Pena just has that like psychological edge here. It's like an unspoken thing where certain types of fighters can bring out certain things in their opponent. And I think Pena brings out a type of irritability in Nunes, and some type of uncomfort. You know what I mean? Kind of like if you go back to, if you're a boxing fan, I always bring this rivalry up for me because it was one I was growing up to, or as I was a young adult. Roy Jones versus Antonio Tarver. Like, Roy was Mr. Unstoppable, but when it came down to Tarver, like, he knew how to say the right things, and when he would face Roy, like, in no way was Roy afraid of him, but like, he put Roy in a different like zone. Like, I don't know what it is, like an uncomfortable zone. Like when they faced off, like in no way, no, like Roy was not a coward or scared him. He fought him 3 times, but it was just like this weird funk where he just took him out of his game plan and didn't make him feel like Superman. And I think that was because Tarver, in the same way Jullianna Pena does, is she doesn't overly respect Amanda, right? She treats her like a human and not a superhuman like the fans do, or her last opponents, Nunes' last opponents. Jullianna Pena says, I'm better than you. I just don't have the belt yet. And she'll just break her down mentally by not respecting her like a fan would. You know what I mean? Like, that's what really gets to Nunes, I think. And I think if she keeps bringing that energy, it's just going to make this fight even more so closer in Pena's favor, right? I think that's just something we can't deny. Like, Nunes was out of her character, even at the press conference, trying to talk a little bit of junk here and there. But, I think Pena was like, I think I got her now. All the while she's also technically saying that, let me work on this, my jab, my striking, and then it's all just going to come together. Let's just put this together, and it's going to come together because we've seen a man over the past 7-8 years. We know what she's about. We just never get to her. We just never had the chance. And it was almost like it was just one of them moments where, she was just about to blow, because she was like, man, like, I got to get this fight. I got to get this fight. I can do this. None of these other girls like Tate or Rousey can do this, but I can do it. So it's been one of those moments too, where it's been coming to a head. It was just ready to explode. Like, that's another key to beating like one of these big time fighters. Like, if you always have the game plan, or you built the game plan up for years and you're just denied time and time again, it's going to just explode on them one day, whether you like it or not, or whether you feel like Pena's as good as or not. Pena was going to beat her. That's what it was. Especially when Nunes wasn't just wasn't taking it seriously, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because, so many people are just saying this is fluke. I don't see that. I just see a very strong, talented fighter in Pena there that said, look, I'm ready. And I also like the fact that, looking at the Joe Rogan podcast, she did kind of, like I said, she just solidified the point I made about her. She said she's that type of fighter that likes to fight. She'll take chances. She don't care what's going to happen. I'll step in the fire. I'll do it. I'll go toe to toe. Just like I called her that reckless one that wants to live in there. That's what she does. That's what she does, right? So, yeah, good on that she just keeps that mentality, because there's a lot of fire around her when it comes to that. Kayla Harrison had her choice of words. But as y'all know, like I said, Khabib, I just did a video. I'm going to put that out probably before this show, but let's go through that again. Like I said, Khabib, he just kind of downplays her performance, says that she just beat her on this day. And he was saying that, we don't have that many good female fighters, only like 5 or 6. I'm like, come on, Khabib, just chill out, man. Like, Jullianna Pena works hard. Jullianna Pena's never gotten a pass with anything. And to be the champion like you did, you're not given that opportunity. You have to go to the fire and perform. Same way he did with Conor McGregor, same way he did with Justin Gaethje, Edson Barboza, any of these fighters, he's done that. She's doing the same thing. She's not cutting corners. You don't cut corners to get there. I mean, like to get the belt. And he should know that. So to try to say her performance was not great, or that she won't do it again, I can understand what she was saying. She said, she said this in her interview with Joe Rogan. I saw in the presser that they asked Khabib a question and he was completely downgrading the whole win and everything like that. It totally broke my heart. I was like, dude, you're breaking my heart. Like, I love you. Seriously. So for her, that is heartbreaking, I guess, if you are a fan of a fighter. Like, say if I'm a fighter, I'm a fan of, say if I was a fan of fighting, a fan of Mike Tyson or somebody, and he said that I was a bum, I would be heartbroken because I'm a fan, right? So she's feeling the same way. Like, she's seeing him as like a fellow brother in the game, like a brother in the game, a fellow fighter. They're in a brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it, and they kind of almost, you think fighters would have this unspoken rivalry. Excuse me, not unspoken rivalry, but unspoken rule where they just kind of respect each other and they already understand where the champion goes through as far as media, cutting weight, training, preparing for the trash talk. She's probably thinking that he's going to big up her performance and just keep it at that because he's going to understand what she's going through. Like these other champions, like when Ronda was around or Joanna's around, they always showed respect. That's why I thought they would have did the same or he would do the same. Well, he wouldn't. Some of the others will show that respect for Pena, but for him, he's not a fan of WMMA. He don't think women should be fighting anyway, but to just downplay her like that, I could see why it would break her heart, especially, again, like I said, if you're a fan. But Khabib, I think he just need to stay in his own lane and keep a lot of his opinions to himself because the fight game, man or woman, is a rough sport. You're putting your life on the line, male or female, regardless, right? Doesn't matter what you are. If you're putting in the work, cutting weight, sparring, like a lot of these women spar with men, they roll with men. So no matter what it is, it's still a life-threatening sport. And I think that Khabib, he's going to have to learn how to respect these women, man, because they're doing it. They're doing it and it's not going anywhere. And for him to just say there's like 5 or 6 women, I'm like, come on, man. Like, there's so many talented women in this sport. Talented women that, they're putting it all on the line every day, But I don't think she's one to let that bother her because in the interview, she said that he must be friends with Kayla Harrison or something. She was like, I don't know, because he was like, if this is the top of the women's division, it's a joke. It wasn't very nice. I didn't appreciate it, Khabib. Okay, so, and for him to say that, to say that if this is the top of the women's division, it's a joke, Jullianna Pena been around for a minute. Jullianna Pena's been around for a minute. And to call her a joke, that's really disrespectful. I think you should really keep your mouth closed, Khabib, because she does a lot to improve as a fighter. She's done a lot to get where she is, And to say she's a joke, I'm like, wow. Like she just beat the champion. It takes a lot to beat the champion. It takes a lot to get on this level. So I'm like, where is she a joke at? Where do you see this as a joke? Like, I know the bantamweight division isn't the best right now, but you still have a lot of talented fighters that fought. Nunes fought Ronda Rousey. It's made up of a division of, veterans. Yeah, it's time for them to go, but at a time they were at their peak. They were some of the best WMMA fighters out there. So yeah, for him to say that was a joke, I'm like, nah, man, that was a good fight. That was a good fight. And shout out to Nunes and just Pena too, man, because she's dealing with a lot here. But my opinion, though, like I said, I don't even think we need to really pay attention to what he has to say when it comes down to it, because there's always going to be fans of the sport. And I think it's still growing. But at the same time, when you have people with the mindset like Khabib, not respecting the female fighters, that's going to be a war in itself, right? Like I said, I know the difference. Like, I would never want to see men fight women, but if women want to fight, I respect that all day. Like I said, women are the ones that got me into MMA. Just seeing their drive and dealing with people saying they can't, like Dana White in the beginning, not wanting to sign women to the UFC. That made me want to watch it more because they really knew they had to do. They knew they had to really be on their 100%. The women knew they had to be on their 100%. That's why you could see it in their performance, because had a lot of odds against them. So they put on they're actually putting on more exciting fights. My family's watching, they'd be like, man, I like watching the women. Shoot, even my dad. Dad's a hardcore boxing fan like me. He, karate, all of that, done all of that. But when it comes to MMA, he actually like watching the women more. And that's the reason why he said, because they look like they work hard. He's like, they are exciting. So you can see it in their performances that the women are really, really working to break that, just to kind of break that chain of old ways of thinking, So yeah, Khabib, I ain't even gonna address it anymore when he talks about women. Like, And y'all can see even my community posts, I don't think too many of y'all watch Eagle FC, right? So yeah, I think moving forward from here, I think Jullianna Pena, she's still going to be a problem for Amanda. Will she win? I don't know. I think she definitely even the odds up mentally. So it's a pick 'em fight. It's definitely a pick 'em fight. You know, yeah, I definitely will stay by that because Jullianna Pena, I keep looking at the mental state that she's in versus where Amanda Nunes is, you know. But let me know what y'all think as we move on here. So yeah, like I did a video. This video should be out by now. Megan Anderson. Unfortunately, Megan Anderson, you know, she's done with the game for now. You know, she's not signed any contracts. You know, she hasn't been doing any deal shopping. I remember a while back she posted up that she was shopping around. I guess it turned out to be something to deal with maybe Twitch at the time or movies, you know, because we all thought maybe Bellator PFL was calling her. But yeah, she's not coming back. She's not coming back as of right now. But I read to y'all the interview where she said, you know, she's doing the gaming, the streaming, still working as an analyst for ESPN and Invicta. She's currently, you know, filming for a major feature film. And even online, you know, you see her doing a lot of like weapons training and things like that. So you can see that she's a lot happier doing what she's doing and fighting. And like she said, fighting isn't on her mind. She's actually said, I couldn't be happier, and fighting really isn't on my mind. So that does sound like somebody that's finding a new path. And like I said in my video, I respect that all the way. I respect that, man. I think that for somebody like Megan Anderson, who's never really had the strongest mentality for the fight game as far as performing, this is a good look for her because she loves the sport, no doubt. Like calling it, analyzing it, breaking it down to us, interviewing fighters on the outside looking in. That's, you know, that's more her lane, right? That's more of her lane there. She's really good at that. Like I said, she's better than some of the men when they analyze. So that's her lane. You can get 100% Megan Anderson with that. She's focused on that. When it comes to her fight game, sometimes you don't know if she's going to show up or not, right? So you can actually see that maybe she wasn't happy fighting at the time, but just analyzing, she's cool with that. So yeah, I think as wise of her to make that choice. As far as saying that she's not saying she'll never fight again. Personally, I think that she maybe should just stay away because you got 3 good ventures here, and you know they are. We could probably already say that they're going to be making more money for her than the UFC, right? She's probably making more than a lot of WMMA fighters. So I think she's found some good lanes. You know, being an analyst too, you know, for ESPN, you know, your word still being seen as gold. I think she should stick with that. Like I said, Twitch. I don't really Twitch. I was thinking about getting into that at one point, but gaming, especially for her, you know, a lot of people want to see her get on there. That's money right there. And then the movie thing, you know, that's definitely a lane that would be wise to go to. So anything for a fighter or former fighter that it's not as mentally draining, especially for somebody in the later part of your career where you're not really feeling it mentally. And after just seeing that Amanda performance last year, like the look on her face, she just looked out of place. Let's be honest, like no disrespect, but she just did not look like somebody that wanted to take Amanda Nunes' belt or even fight anybody at that time. And I think maybe she looked back at that fight, saw it, and said, this ain't for me. And that's good. Sometimes people have to say that to really come to terms with it before they go in there and get killed. Right? So yeah, good job for Megan. If y'all didn't hear the video, y'all can go listen to that. But yeah, that's really my thoughts. I just wanted to mention it on this episode because it's kind of similar to, you know, Roxanne, her situation. You know, you got to be, you know, you gotta you got to think of what's best for you. You got to, no matter what the fans say. You know, the fans want to see you back. I'm a fan of Megan, especially in the beginning. I was, but if it's better off, you know, doing streaming, calling fights, and go that route. I mean, yeah, you got to go that route. Because I don't see her in the same light as I did like 2016, 2015, that Megan. Like I said, I'll probably do a video on that. I'm going to do a video on that at one point where we can kind of talk about what she could have been, how could she could have upset Chris Cyborg, what she could have worked on to make her almost unstoppable. You know, that's in the works. So, yeah, shout out to Megan Anderson. Do your thing. You know, get that money. That's what it's all about, too, when it comes down to it. So, yeah, what else? Real quick, let's go down. Last topic here. Let's go down the flyweight fight schedule. That's right. We're talking about the flyweights again. Flyweights is active. Flyweight division is live. Next to the strawweight division is getting up there. Y'all know the bantamweight division is it's okay. It's okay. Dry. But flyweights is popping. Let me go through this list of 10 fights real quick here for y'all, in case y'all missed the live stream. Not breaking these things down. Just want to kick, drop these fights on y'all. Let me go ahead and kick it off here, in case y'all missed the live. Let me pull it up. I mean, yeah, really though, the flyweight division, like I said, every time we talk about it, there's always another fight that go right behind it. You know what I mean? Like they have been one of the most active. For one of the most raw divisions, it's very active though. Yeah, for real. So to kick it off, I might kind of go out of order here, but I'll start with the most current ones as best as I can, just looking at my schedule. Okay, so first off, y'all know next week we have Roxanne Modaferri versus Casey O'Neill. Let me see. Oh, there we go. February 12th, we got Roxanne Modaferri, Casey O'Neill. Got that fight next week. Then next month, we got another big one. Jessica I versus Modaferri, March 5th. All right. Oh, hang on, y'all. Let me pull this thing all the way up so I can read the list. Okay. So February 12th, Roxanne Modaferri versus Casey O'Neill. March 5th, Jessica I versus Modaferri. Then on the March 12th card, we got two fights. We got Sabina Mazo versus Mandy Boehm and JJ Aldridge versus Ariane Lipsky. All right. So that's 4 right there. Then later in March, we have March 26th, we have Joanne Wood versus Alexa Grasso. Right. And I almost skipped this. February 26th, we have Jin Yoon Kim versus Priscilla Cachoeira. And let's see. In April, April 23rd, we have Macy Barber versus Montana De La Rosa. All right. And then later in April 30th, we have Courtney Casey versus Antonina Shevchenko. Then May 14th, we got another double flyweight card. We have Miesha Tate versus Lauren Murphy, which is okay, but the one I'm looking forward to on this card, May 14th, is Vivian Araujo versus Andrea Lee. All right, so those are the 10 fights you got right there. 10 flyweight fights over the course of next 4 months. Yeah, 4 months. February, March, April, May. Yeah, over the next 4 months. Good fights, man. I mean, the ones I'm really looking at that's going to answer questions and going to be that weed them out scenario is Firo, Modaferri, and O'Neill. Right? And maybe Grasso Wood might be in a way. You know? That could be one very much like that. But some of the lower levels I'm looking forward to definitely is Aldridge Lipsky. And let me see. Casey Shevchenko. I'm going to see that fight. That's Courtney Casey's last fight, but I still want to see what she's going to do. Oh, yeah, don't forget. I think I forgot a fight, didn't I? Hold on. Let me get the date. So we got 11 fights. I almost forgot a fight on y'all. Hold on. Let me get the date. I got it in my mind, but I want to pull up the date first. We have also on March, but how did I forget this? Same night, same card as Jessica I versus Manon Fiorot. On March 5th, we have Maria Agapova versus Marina Moreau. And that's going to be a grudge match. That's going to be crazy. So that's 11 flyweight fights for y'all. 11. And so this is going to be a good night at WMMA. We got Agapova Moreau, Fiorot, and don't forget in the strawweight division, we got Rodriguez and Jana. Marina Rodriguez versus Jana. So yeah, man, it's going down, man. That's why I said, like, I love to talk the sport of WMMA. That's why if I tend to go off on certain topics more than once, you know, if you get bored, like I said, just go on to the next one until we talk about something else you like. But you're going to hear us revisit, you're going to hear me revisit some of these fights over and over when I see something that I missed the first time around or anything that's current. You know, we're going to talk about it, right? Because we don't have very many platforms that do that. Just a handful of WMMA channels out here. So you got to support them if you want to continue to see some of your favorite fighters like Alexa Grasso, Lauren Murphy, Roxanne Modaferri, right? Macy Barber, Montana. Any of your favorite fighters, you know, we're going to be talking about it over here. Yes, sir. So yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got for this episode. I just want to come through and make sure I can get one out in time because I'm going to be busy later on this weekend, like always. So I want to go ahead and drop it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything I talked about. You know, final thoughts. Final thoughts, man. As a whole, first of all, I got to say, yeah, rest in peace again to Curtis Anderson. But yeah, Roxanne's mind frame. I'm just glad that she's leaving right now. But as for other fighters in the future, I don't know if you just should come in with that mindset that I don't want to fight for the title. It's not a good look because I think it'll just kind of lessen you as a fighter and leave you open for damage. You know, Jullianna Pena, like I said, got a target on her back, but she handling it well. Rematch is going to be close. Megan Anderson, do her thing, keep pushing. You know, stay out of the fight game if you ain't built for it anymore. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got, guys. So, like always, make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel, Comma Worker 99. Subscribe to this show, hashtag CB99 Talk, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, all of that. And yeah, man, like I said, y'all do that. I keep on talking about it. Keep on doing it. Let me get up out of here, y'all. Combo Breaker 99. I am out. Subscribe. Peace.